Hello, everybody. Welcome to your Sunday hot takes for the EFL Championship Round 19. We need to talk about another home win for Leeds yesterday against Derby that took them to the top of the table. Over to you, Sheffield United, this afternoon. We need to talk about a win, finally, for Sunderland. The first win in 7. Does that give us back our 4-horse race for automatic promotion and indeed the title? And we need to talk about the hottest winning streak in the EFL Championship right now, belonging to Blackburn Rovers, who are into the top 6 after they won at a very much in stasis in transition Hull City. Get your thoughts in via the comments. As ever, we're recording on Sunday morning. There is a game and there is a key game this afternoon. So this is all before whatever Sheffield United have done at West Brom up at the top of the table. And of course, if you're a Pompey fan, or a Coventry fan, or a QPR fan, you want to hear about your brilliant win in the bottom half. Hopefully we will get to that with the great Sam Parkin on the Championship Check-In podcast next episode in the week. So all is not lost. Let's tune in, and we will try and include Sheffield United in the conversation as best we can. But let's talk about Leeds first, who are an absolute machine at home, aren't they? It was Leeds 2, Derby 0. Really, really comfortable for Leeds. And I'm just bringing up on my iPad. It's 7 wins in a row at Elland Road. And it's not just that. As if that isn't enough. 3-0, 2-0, 2-1. Well, Watford scored a goal. 3-0, 2-0, 3-0, 2-0. They are sensational at home. And I was talking about this on a League One video on Friday. Remember Plymouth in League One in 22-23 when they scored 101 points and pipped Ipswich to the League One title? If you have that good a home record, and I mean, there's a good home record and there's just a ridiculous home record where maybe you're going to win 19 or 20 of the 23 games and just kind of drop points in 3 of them. You're probably going to win the title whatever you do on the road, aren't you? We'll talk about Leeds on the road because that is an issue we need to talk about. And if Leeds were fairly reasonable, decent, above average on the road, they would be well clear at the top of the table now. So I'm really interested, Leeds fans, get in the comments on the slight disparity between home and away records. Max Verber, interestingly, off the bench. Joe Rodon as well scoring. So a couple of interesting goal scorers. And we've spoken about the job Daniel Farke has managed to do. I mean, we're talking about an 18-month narrative now with a squad that came down with the old ownership and, I don't know, a bit of mistrust in some of those sort of signings. And he's managed to reintegrate Aronson whilst the likes of Somerville and Reuter have then been sold on. Obviously, Sinistera as well last season. Can he do the same thing with Max Verber now? There is quality there and very much a case of, look, work with me for a season and we'll see where we stand afterwards. He's managed to play that pretty well with Aronson, who's delivering now, which has meant Leeds haven't had to make giant gambles in the transfer market in the face of Reuter, who's playing very regularly now for Brighton, and Somerville obviously going off to West Ham. I don't necessarily need to talk too much about the game because it's just a standard Leeds controlling a home game in the Championship. And as I say, can they notch up? And this is not an exaggeration. Give me the number, and I don't know what Plymouth got in that League One campaign. But can you notch up in a 23-game run 50, 55 points or something like that? You're most of the way to promotion there, aren't you? Talk to me, though, Leeds fans, about away from home. Look at that. 1 win in 6. And 2 defeats in 3. So it is quite pronounced. And let's throw it out there. The win was mad, wasn't it, at Swansea? The 3-4 and the late goal by Willie Gnonto. So Leeds trucking on very, very nicely with an absurd home record. I bet you I'll get some comments from Leeds fans saying, Ben, I'd take 8 out of 10 at home if I got 8 out of 10 away rather than 10 out of 10, frankly, at home and I don't know, 5 or 6 out of 10 away. Let me know your thoughts on that, Leeds. But, you know, it's very good. And, you know, from a big picture point of view, not even whining on about the away form like I am, it's 2 points per game. Yes, I get it. We'll get comments about last season and Ipswich hitting 96 points to lock out second place there. We've discussed this too many times. Surely that's not going to happen again this season. And Leeds there projecting to hit 92 this season. It was 90 last season. Sheffield United, we don't know what's happened. And I think there's a bit of a sense with the 2-point deduction with Sheffield United that probably they're doing what Leeds fans would like Leeds to do. And if we look at the away points for Sheffield United, 15 in 9. Leeds 13 in 9. It's not that much difference. It's only really... Burnley have got 18 from 10. So you're looking at 1.8s there and, slightly lower for Leeds and Sheffield United. They are both nailing it at home. Look, I'll be completely honest. We've got a team in Sheffield United this afternoon headed off to West Brom. Sheffield United have a brilliant defence. West Brom have a very good defence. They draw all the time and they love a clean sheet, both of these teams. So I don't know whether we're going to be looking at a 0-0 draw here. That's what I've predicted. But should Sheffield United head off to West Brom and get the win this afternoon, I mean, they only need a draw to retake top spot. We could be talking about, Sheffield United retaking at the start of this 3-game week top spot. But bringing it back to Leeds, I think the Leeds fans will be pretty happy with where they are and what they're doing, provided you're now looking at January as well and what can be done in terms of bolstering squads, provided the away form picks up slightly. By the way, and I want to frame this today as a 4-horse race. I do think a lot of people think that image over there is the top 2 and it'll end up actually being a 2-horse race for the title rather than a 4-horse race for automatic. But sure, Burnley and Sunderland fans are going to have something to say about this. So the week is pretty tricky for Leeds because you've got Middlesbrough at home. And Middlesbrough, we'll talk about in a minute, obviously went off to Burnley and got themselves a decent draw on Friday night. And then Preston away at the weekend for Leeds. I mean, Leeds will expect there to go there and win. They did lose there at, I think it might have been Boxing Day. Maybe there was a red card in that game if I'm misremembering. Let me know. Sheffield United in midweek head off to Millwall, which is hard. Millwall have beaten Burnley and Leeds at home recently, but then they host Plymouth, and Plymouth are horrible on the road. So you tell me, I think Leeds have got the slightly... Well, I don't know, actually, because Sheffield United literally go to West Brom today, and Leeds have already got the 3 points on the board, haven't they? So, look, right now it's advantage Leeds, but we'll know more later. But look, Sunday hot takes come out on Sunday morning. I can't talk about a game that hasn't happened yet. Get your thoughts in the comments. Leeds fans and Sheffield United fans, particularly after the game where there's a little bit more information for us. Burnley and Middlesbrough we'll deal with together because they drew 1-1 on Friday night, which annoyingly for me in the predictions competition, Sam Parkin got bang on. I was going to say 1-1, which I did say on the video. What do we learn from that? I don't know. Perhaps we learn a bit more about Middlesbrough. I've called them flaky a few times. I know they have these massive high-scoring wins and create brilliant underlying numbers and great XG and score lots of goals. And then they have the odd... I mean, I had some Middlesbrough fans telling me, oh, we're not inconsistent, Ben. We just struggle against teams that play a low block. It's kind of the definition of inconsistent, consistent sides. Let's not talk about the process and the performances. Let's talk about the result. Consistent sides try and knock out the wins one after the other. So maybe the Borough fans will be quite pleased to go to Burnley, a side that just have an ungodly good defensive record, and go there and take a point. I think it's pretty decent. The difficulty for Middlesbrough, as we've already mentioned, is they head off to Leeds United in midweek. If you're Burnley, okay, you didn't win a home game, and are we going to get two teams already that aren't Burnley scoring 90 points this season, and maybe you can't even afford to drop the points like that? I don't know. That feels a pretty unfairly high standard to hold Burnley to. Later in the week, Burnley host Derby at home, and they go to Norwich, which will be a test for their defence, because Norwich and Middlesbrough facing the two entertainers this week. We're going to learn a hell of a lot more. I'll put a hold on my opinions on Burnley and Middlesbrough at the moment. I don't know. There's 6 points between them. Let's put a question like that to you. 6 points between Burnley and Middlesbrough. Will the gap be that large by the end of the season? I reckon they might be a little bit closer together. You tell me, and talk to me about Burnley's viability. Is this a 4-horse race? Are Burnley an automatic challenger? Are they going to be a playoff challenger? I don't know. It's very interesting. We're learning a lot as we go. Let's move on and round this out. Talk about Sunderland and Blackburn. Finally, Sunderland fans, thank God. I've been saying week after week now for 3 or 4 games, I think. Sunderland, just win a game. Doesn't matter how, just win a game. Get back into the conversation. And the truth is, Sunderland have been so good prior to this 1 win in 7 run that they are very much still in it. And look, they're 2 points off the top. That's what having an amazing run to start the season does for you. It allows a bit of headroom for you to have what Sunderland fans are hopefully going to, categorise as your bad run, singular. There's only going to be one of them. Look, there's probably going to be another bad run at some point during the season, but you're going to have them, come out of them, accept that they're going to happen unless you're Reading in 2006 or whatever it was, scoring 106 points. You're going to have a period where you don't win. That's the deal. Sunderland winning 2-1 against Stoke. They did go behind, didn't they? But we've got to talk about this conveyor belt at Sunderland as well, because I did Sheffield United Sunderland, where I thought Sunderland were quite unlucky to come away with 0 from that game. But as I said at the time, coin flip game at Bramall Lane at the moment. Sheffield United win that game, and that's exactly what happened. But I did very, very much like Tom Watson, young winger. We've gooed over Chris Rigg and Joe Bellingham. Obviously, Rigg's come through at Sunderland. Bellingham came through at Birmingham. But here's another one. And you're going to sell Jack Clark. You need another presence down that wing. Watson, brilliant player he looks. I mean, I think he's a bit older than Chris Rigg. Everybody's older than Chris Rigg, for God's sake. But 2 goals for Watson. I'll argue that the breakout performance is on Sky away at Sheffield United, where you're like, oh, he's a player. But the actual, the cherry on the cake, getting the goals and, delivering the output came yesterday against Stoke. 2 goals for Watson. Brilliant. And just these young players just keep appearing at Sunderland. And we've argued about do they need the balance? Do they need more Alan Brown type characters who've played hundreds of championship games? Yes, they need them in the squad, but it is fantastic. The kind of profile of player and the brilliant youngsters that Sunderland have got. Are they back in now as a very serious automatic promotion candidate? The recent run of results would say no, because they've only won 1 in 7. The table would say yes. I would love it as a detached observer to be a 4-horse race with everybody knocking points off each other. So talk to me, Sunderland fans. Can you go on another excellent run now and really nail this down? And lots of comparisons made to Ipswich last season, where you've got a team that is not in receipt of parachute payments, where Leeds, Sheffield United and Burnley all are. Can you get in between them? And can you be the unicorn that beats the teams that can maybe have this higher level of player that was maybe procured in the Premier League, and you're still able to pay the wages of that Championship cheat code? Your Gus Harmer, or maybe your Brendan Aronson, who was bought, not built, higher up, or say Esteve for Burnley. These players that you can't really get in your squad without having some Premier League money at some point. And Sunderland have not had any Premier League money for the longest time. Get your thoughts down there in the comments. Finally, Blackburn. I should make yet another public apology to Blackburn, because they had the great start to the season, and then it was a really poor run, wasn't it? I'm seeing 5 defeats here in 7 games, and I'm like, right, that makes sense. Blackburn were never going to be a proper playoff challenger this season. They sold Smodics. Smodics was the reason they stayed up last season, and they're going to regress to the mean, and they'll be somewhere in the middle of the table. Fine. Whatever. But look at what they have done since Blackburn, and look at the couple of teams they've played in the middle of this. 4 consecutive wins for Blackburn. Yes, in that time, they've beaten Cardiff and Hull. Hull are a mess at the moment. Okay, they've bought in Ruben Sellers now, but they're on a losing streak. Cardiff are 21st as things stand right now. But Blackburn fans will rightly point out a gigantic elephant in the room. They've won away at Middlesbrough and beaten Leeds in that time and kept clean sheets in both of those games. In fact, they've only conceded 1 goal across the 4 games. 3 clean sheets in a row. I can't talk this morning, can I? It was a late night last night, dearie me. And 4 victories. Blackburn, wow. John Eustace needs so much credit for his work in the Championship to have Birmingham towards the top of the table last season and then be sacked, having stabilised, and they went from Trillian obviously to Knighthead under his managership, tenure, whatever word you want to use. And then last season, yes, they did cascade down the table in difficult circumstances after Jean Dahl Thomason, but they did stay up, and the proof is in the pudding. Then what do you do afterwards? What do you do when Smodix has gone, the top scorer in the division, and you're moving on to the next season? Do you stabilise or does it get worse? No, you don't stabilise. It actually gets better, and Blackburn up in the top 6. Is there an open door this season? I don't know. It does feel like, everyone's telling me this, Ben, you've already got 4 of the top 6. Sunderland, Burnley, Sheffield United and Leeds are definitely going to be in the top 6. Middlesbrough are probably going to be in the top 6. It's not like that season where we had the Luton Coventry playoff final where you think, right, door wide open. But there does seem an opportunity, and I'm looking there. Blackburn, Watford, West Brom, Sheffield Wednesday, Norwich, Millwall, Bristol City. That's the rest of the top half are all going to be thinking, right, there's a sliver of light coming through a slightly open door. Can we take a playoff place? And I'll tell you what, Blackburn would be a bloody nuisance in the playoffs because teams that can keep clean sheets in 180-minute two-legged games, they do all right in the playoffs, don't they? So, yeah, fair play Blackburn. Did not see this winning streak coming. I was expecting, right, trend into the middle of the table. So, well done, John Eustace. Well done, Blackburn. That is your Championship hot takes. And this is without not knowing, I'm really struggling this morning, aren't I? Without not knowing what Sheffield United have done yet, I do think we're back into the 4-horse promotion race. Maybe that'll change in the coming weeks. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on the rest of the 3-game week as well, because it is juicy, isn't it? Especially that Leeds Middlesbrough fixture Tuesday night. That sounds really, really good fun. And then Sheffield United going to Millwall. I think perhaps if you're a Burnley fan or a Sunderland fan and you're Derby at home and Bristol City at home this midweek, I think you're saying yes, 4-horse race, because there might be a little differential in points with the difficult away games for Leeds. The difficult games for Leeds at home to Middlesbrough. Is anything difficult for Leeds at home? But certainly Sheffield United going to Millwall, where others have gone and failed this season. We'll learn a lot in midweek. Get your thoughts in the comments. I'm going to learn how to talk, put my teeth back in. You know how to talk, so get in there in the comments below. We're going to be back with the big man, Sam Parkin. It is predictions tomorrow, but I'll get Sam's take. Particularly, I'll try and get it on Coventry, QPR and Pompey tomorrow, because I feel like we should mention them after great wins this round. Championship check-in, as always, on a 3-game week will be over on Thursday. Okay, so with that being said, on a 3-game week, let me know your picks for who might do the fabled 9-point week. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I think we're off to go and decorate a Christmas cake with Enid, which sounds quite fun, but quite messy as well. So expect to see me in a different jumper on the Blue Monday podcast tonight. God, talk to me about the Premier League as well. Check out my video, Getting Promoted Sucks, if you're a Championship fan, at the top of the table, that came out on Thursday. Although if you're a Sheffield United fan, Burnley fan, Leeds fan, you might already know all about that. Maybe Sunderland fans, check that one out. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you soon.